Well, Christian, let me say to you something very bluntly. I'm not a progressive president. I am the president of Brazil. I don't see President Trump as a far-right president. I see him as the president of the U.S. He was elected by the American people. So it doesn't matter if I like him or not like him in terms of his ideology. What matters is that he's the president of the U.S. and I'm president of Brazil. And it's me and him. And so the best thing in the world is for us to sit around the table and talk. That would be the best thing in the world. But now he has demonstrated that he's not interested because he thinks he can do whatever he wants with the tariffs. The second issue is that no one who wants to break away from the U.S., no one who wants to be free of the U.S. What we want is not to be a hostage of the U.S. We want freedom. We don't want to be a hostage of the U.S. We want freedom for the trade. And so it's important to remember that we represent 40% of the international trade in the world. And it's important to remember that we have 25% of the world GDP. And besides that, we have almost half of the world's population. And so we don't want to pick a fight with anybody. The BRICS was not created to fight with any country. The BRICS was created so that we that consider ourselves equally discuss in a peaceful manner our issues. This is how we seek peace in Ukraine. That's how we sought peace in Gaza. That's how we want peace in the African continent, especially in Congo. Brazil does not want to feed any war or participate in war. Brazil wants peace and negotiate. It's important that the U.S. government should know that.
Okay, so I want to ask you whether you might feel any sympathy or have any advice for President Trump when it comes to President Putin. You've just talked about wanting peace in Ukraine, and you spoke to President Putin when you went to commemorate the end of World War II in Moscow just this year. You suggested that you could mediate, but you've also seen that President Trump tried to talk sense to Putin, tried to look like, a negotiator and a mediator, and Putin has absolutely failed to respond. In fact, done the exact opposite, and Trump is getting very frustrated. You haven't had any success with Putin either in terms of ending this war. What advice do you have now to President Trump and to yourself and to anybody else who wants to try to end this bloody war?
I was very happy when President Trump said that he was going to negotiate with this war, the end of the war with Putin. I was happy with that. Although I have divergence with Trump, I was happy that President Trump was willing to stop the war. Now, this week I heard that he's going to sell more arms. The world is very strange, Christian. The world has increased. The NATO countries increased in 5% of their GDP military spending to buy arms. And we have 733 million people that are dying of hunger. And others that don't have medical assistance. Other millions don't have drinking water. And don't have basic sanitation. So all this money that is being carried to buy weapons should be carried to end poverty, extreme poverty in the world. And when the extreme poverty countries develop themselves, they can buy for the rich countries. But not even this idea they can understand. So I believe that it would be important to understand there are no interlocutor to solve the peace issue. It's necessary that UN should take over the coordination. UN has to take the coordination, and Putin and Zelensky agree with that, to have a coordination of a group of countries that are friends that could develop an alternative proposal to what they want. Otherwise, this war will not have an end. And I hope sincerely that President Trump, instead of selling more weapons, he be more careful to try to reach peace. He has the strength, the force to do that. The same thing, I think, President Xi Jinping. He can be more active and more influential with Putin. So if you don't have the interlocutors, the war will continue. It's like Gaza. What's going on in Gaza? Netanyahu doesn't show any respect for anybody. He doesn't respect the UN, the US. He doesn't respect anybody, anything. Netanyahu is now predestined to continue in government, and to continue in government, he needs to go to war. He has to kill a lot of children. This is the world that we want. Is this the world we want? The U.S. is part of the UN Security Council. China is part of the UN Security Council. Russia is part of the UN of the Security Council. France and England. Where are they now? What are they doing? What is the UN Security Council doing now? And the full members of the UN Security Council, what are they doing? They don't solve anything. Who are they listening? Who are they talking? Every day I read the newspaper. Someone asked for ceasefire, and the next day Netanyahu kills more women and children there. And now he's just killed children there. We were trying to